How time moves on. Years have passed. Days have gone by. And yet, Toriko is still laying it down. So, this is the big comeback, the big sit back down, the big story time read with me. Brandino Wolfensteino, bringing it back. It has been a long time since I've been back in the game. Now, of course, been doing a lot of stuff. My Let's Plays have been flowing. I don't think a lot of people have been watching them. I'm sorry. But I've been trying to break into a new market because, play a lot of video games, and I feel like if I'm going to sit there and spend a whole bunch of time playing them, I might as well do a Let's Play and get something out of it. So, but that's no here nor there. Back to the review. A while back I dropped I stopped reading around the time when God just came around. And Asya, of course, is like trying to get to it, and everybody's trying to stop him. Toriko's pretty close, but, yada yada. 377 is basically where I left off. I think I was at 376.
Brandino Wolfensteino.
So, I'm doing like a short run, speed run. I'm going to try to get through the spark notes of all of these chapters. At a reasonable pace so that, you could kind of get caught up, and also I could get caught up, which I did catch up, just in case you haven't been, on the Toriko wave. Which, why? Why haven't you been on the Toriko wave? It's incredible. Unfathomable. Why? But anyway, so 377. Chapter opens up, of course, they're sitting there with the god and everything, and the 8 kings are all gathered, of course, ready to lay the smack it down, because of course, you know that every king has some crazy ability that Toriko couldn't really get out of them. Like, the way that they display themselves is like most of their abilities are so high powered that it's like, nothing is stopping these guys. Monkey King, of course, comes in, and Asya's like, get out my face. Monkey King, takes the blow and is like, oh, you're strong? Comes back. I'm like, son, Bambina turning up already, son. His power is something that is unparalleled. I'm going to tell you right there, because he cracked Asya so hard in the face. But, of course, Asya comes out basically unscathed, even though he took a way powerful punch. Then, of course, as he's getting knocked away, Whale King Moon is trying to put him away. Whale King Moon is like, nah, dog, we're not having this. And Asya's like, what? He cracks Whale King Moon, which I was like, whoa. But, of course, you find out that Whale King Moon has basically had like a shell of meteorite crust on his face the entire time, which is probably why he just eats indiscriminately, because he can't even see. So you find out he's just giant white whale, which is a pretty looking whale. Like for him to have 2 sets of eyes, he's a pretty beautiful looking whale. But of course, that wasn't enough to stop him. So he knocks Whale King Moon back into the ocean, like, yo, chill out. And then Asya's, of course, trying to go back. But as he's jumping back to go do something, he gets caught into a back channel. So he's like, what the fuck is this? Dear King Sky, my man, Dear King Sky decided it's no more time to play around. He drops him into the back channel, 1,000 years of death in milliseconds. Like, he is trying to put Asya away right now. It's like, he's like, I'm not playing around. And the thing about Dear King Sky is that because he can create back channels in his horns, basically, he could almost take out any beast, if you really think about it. Like, they would have to be able to survive without eating for thousands of years to be able to survive in his back channel per second. So every second on the outside is 1,000 years in the back channel. creatures have to be able to do that autophagy, or I forget I don't know how to pronounce it, but yada yada. Then the chapter ends off basically with Tepe saying like, I'm sorry guys, I didn't mean to betray you, but I had to take out Komatsu. It was the only way to do what we had to get done, and I'm just sorry. And they're like, all right man, you're cool. Kudos to the Pompadour. So next chapter. So we open up and Baranchi and Aimaru is flying over some giant mushroom tree that's like bubbling, which I'm guessing that's where they get the life water from. Because I thought like the way Midora got it was to go beat a whole bunch of beasts and get to this specific place, but maybe that is the place where the life, I don't know. But it goes through like a little moment where Aimaru is like, all this time, food was barely a thing to me. I just ate for sustenance. But today, I'm finally hungry. And it's like, oh, Aimaru finally getting some gurgle down there. Anyway, so then after that, Branchi is of course figuring out what's going on with this giant tree and what's bubbling inside of this stuff. And then it cuts back and you see like the other kings are down. So they're like, oh man. And Zonge is over there like, oh, what are we gonna do? Like the other kings are down and Toriko's over there and all we have left is Toriko to kind of help us out. It's like there's nothing we could really do. And then of course out of nowhere some swole ass, and I'm like, who is this? Like not another fucking threat. Chi-Chi. I'm like, oh, okay, Chi-Chi over there. What's all this gun show, though? And he's like, I'm going to have to cook them back to help. And I'm like, is Chi-Chi about to cook them? Like, literally, like, cook them alive kind of thing? I'm like, what is he going to do to them? Cuts to the next chapter. So then the next chapter opens up, and we see Starjun and Joey in a deadlock battle. And Starjun, of course, is letting the fire rip. Like, he is burning. He's doing his super burner mega spear attacks, and all of these pillars of flames are coming up, and Starjun's just third eye, just freaking like, it sees all. And Joey's like, well, luckily I'm able to create back channels that let me travel faster than the speed of light, or I wouldn't have been able to dodge that. But your eye can see it, can it? And Starjun's like, it can. It's just like, it's so much ridiculousness. Then we cut back to Tepe, which is in another deadlock with another Nitro. Well, not another Nitro, but with a Nitro, which I'm thinking this Nitro is Center, because at later points, they call out to another one. But he's fighting this one, and of course, the Nitro is putting him all the way on the ropes. Like, this Nitro is way too powerful for Tepe. But Tepe, of course, being tactical, uses this crazy plant that's like this space seed that he can plant it inside of you and it automatically grows just by the littlest bit of, like, sustenance. And he's like, this plant is so incredible that even in the vacuum of space, if it has just one milladrop, and they love to go to these tiny, like, unfathomable increments to display how great this stuff is. But there's like, if there's one milladrop of water, this plant will survive in the vacuum of space and grow to a massive, like, come on, my man. But so he uses the plant, and he calls, of course, he ensnares the Nitro in the trap, and then he's like, all right, this should hold him back for a little bit. Just get to God, Toriko. Eat your main dish. And of course, Toriko's standing on the back of God, just like, I want to devour it. Just like, eat the damn frog, Toriko. Like, stop wasting time. You could have already caught a bite of that thing, man. So then, of course, another one of the Nitro that are trying to, like, take everything down is like, oh no, he's a little too close. And it's like he's jumping in, about to attack Toriko, or I guess, I think I remember that's what happened. And then, boom, boom. Oh, actually, no, he does. I think he does try to go for Toriko, but then Toriko, like, gets out of the way of the blow, and it's like, how did he even dodge? That was faster than the eye could even, blah, 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 like, too fast for you to comprehend. And then, of course, it's like, Ruff! it's Terry Cloth back in the saddle. And then, I'm like, Terry Cloth is back. Son, the wolf is back. So then, after that, where's my post there? Where is it? So then the Nitro is like, oh, what do you think one wolf is gonna do to me? And then, boom, 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 the wolves come in, packing up, swarming up. I'm like, son, the pack is here. There's no way you're defeating a whole pack of the legendary King Wolf Guinness Brigade, my man. There's no way you're beating a whole bunch of those freaking wolves. There's no way. The battle wolf is way too powerful, son. And especially if they're in a group, they're not the strongest. They don't have to be the strongest because it's all about the pack. Anyway, so Terry Cloth, of course, comes in. He's got the pack on his back. They're like, yeah, we got you, kid. And of course, they're about to take that as Nitro. This Nitro's still popping shit. He don't know what's about to happen to him. But then, as we come back to Deer King Sky, Neo is in there just being, basically burned out of existence. And it's you see him, he's going away, and Deer's like, I gotta keep going. And then, as he's fading out of existence, Deer King Moon is saying to himself, I can't let up for a second, because the minute I do, he's gonna get out. So it's I have to make sure that I destroy this thing to the very last bit of appetite. And it's even though inside of his horns, he had a couple of beasts in there, which I'm thinking, why didn't Neo just eat the creatures that were in there? I mean, they're super high powered, which is one thing, but it's why didn't Neo just devour them, since he's so freaking god level strength of hunger and everything? Neo basically dies. And I'm like, yes, it's over. But the comic wasn't over, so I'm like, then, of course, the shimmer of light that was the last light of his appetite reignites. He comes back stronger than ever and busts out of freaking Deer King Moon's back channel. And he's like, if I hadn't decided to let myself go to the very edges of destruction or something, I wouldn't have been able to evolve. I'm like, what? Just in the... Granted, he explains it in the next episode. So... after he jumps out and freaking stabs Toriko straight through the neck, he explains oh, this is chapter 380 if you haven't caught up. Yeah, I just did 79 and 78, but this is 380. So he jumps out before 380. At the end of 79, he jabs Toriko in the throat. But 380, he jumps out and stabs Toriko in his neck and is you think this is gonna stop me? That wasn't enough. I'm able to evolve, and the craziest part about it was those thousands of years that you sat there and held me in there was enough time for Neo to go through every stage of his whatever gene splicing ridiculousness, so that he can come out evolved and be able to survive in that vacuum of universe. He's so adaptable, even though it would have taken thousands of years to do that, because the back channel gave him those thousands of years and sped up all of that time. He was able to do 1,000 years worth of work in a couple of seconds and evolve. And I'm like, this took the strongest freaking kill shot and turned it into a plus. I'm like, my God, this is ridiculous. Neo was a little too OP. Way too OP. So everybody, of course, lets their guard down because they think, okay, Neo's finally gone. But no, he's not. And, of course, right as that moment happened, and of course he's stabbing Toriko in the neck, he sits there and freaking is basically about to eat God. But of course the 8 kings are watching. They are still locked onto his presence. So it's not they just said, oh, he got out, let's look away. No, they've been intently staring directly at Asya/Neo for the entirety of this fight. They're not gonna break sight for a second. Of course, they all come in with which I like to think of, the Naruto all your tails strike, which is basically, if you ever see Naruto or read it, there's a point in the comic where all of the tailed beasts gather together and use their tails, and it was like their strongest attack, but it was just basically like a tail whip. But all of them were using the considered forces of all of their tails to slam down on this opponent in Naruto. But this way they did it with the 8 Kings. It's a little better. So all of them kind of came in with their like strongest move, coming in with their crazy attacks. Bambina, of course, the first one to come in because all he has is just raw strength of the fist. But then the rest of them are coming in with beams and shock waves and all this other stuff. I'm like, oh my god. Please land the blow. Out of nowhere, he just comes, the world, oh! And I'm like, what? He just freezes them for like a millisecond? I'm like, come on, bro. When did you get freaking Dio Brando in the goddamn series? He stops all of them in like mid, like he was able to anticipate them before they were gearing up their malice to strike and stop them. I don't know if this is like a knocking or if it was just like a random, just like the world attack, but it was something that literally stopped them cold long enough for him to figure out what the hell he was going to do. So Toriko, of course, is hanging on, and he's like not trying to let Asuya go in, and Asuya sits there and has him through the throat with this hand. I'm trying to display it on the camera. Through the throat with this hand, and then he's like reaching down, and then Toriko's like, no! And then he's like, man, come on, I will slice through your neck. And he like breaks his neck while he's like, his fist is through it, and of course Toriko's not letting go. Lasting power. You just get like stabbed through the neck, but you're still gripping. Like it's crazy strength. Then, out of nowhere, now Asuya's looking at him like, why is this kid still holding on? Like, he should be dead. I broke his neck in like 5 different places. Also stabbed through his trachea, so it's not like he could breathe. He's losing a lot of stuff. You know, like, he should be gone. He stares Toriko like dead in his face, and then all of a sudden, the third demon pokes out for a second, and he jumps back and is like, ah! And it's like, yo, how did you get so scared of this thing? It only appeared for like a millisecond, and you're freaking out. You threw Toriko halfway across the screen, and you're jumping back like, like, yo, what is this third demon that is inside of Toriko that freaked him out so much? Because the dude just popped up and just like, Like, he didn't even do anything. All he did was look at Asuya in his face, and that was it. And Asuya went on, like, ultimate defensive, because he was not trying to be anywhere near that thing. Which I'm like, yo, I feel like when Toriko eats God, this is my future prediction in the middle of the video. When Toriko eats God, there's gonna be a point where he's gonna freaking just unlock this third demon. Like, when he eats God, the third demon's gonna wake up, because the third demon wants a taste of God. And when he wakes up, Toriko's body is gonna be able to withstand the shock that's gonna come out when this third demon arises. And when this thing takes over, it's gonna freaking annihilate. Like higher than the kings, the 8 kings. Like, damn near on par with Asuya right now. Because, of course, he's on some OP-ass level. I don't know if it's going to be higher than that, but this third demon seems like it is no joke. You could tell by, like, when Blue Demon came out and wrecked Heracles, like, he wasn't shit. So you could imagine, both of them, the red and the Blue Demon, are scared of this third one. So it's like, and Blue Demon is wild strong. But anyway, so then now finally Neo gets a bite of God, and then out of nowhere he just separates from Asuya because the power is so great that Neo now understands what food is. And of course, after he takes a bite of God, like that moment of elation just made him let go of his world, and then out of nowhere all of the kings are now attacking. Neo, of course, eats freaking Monkey King Bambina's blow and, like, rips him in half, which I'm like, damn. But then Monkey King Bambina's like, oh, it ain't over, and starts using like mouth beams and whatever, like power spit or something, and Neo's just eating all of that, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck? So then Heracles is using his like snot breath kind of thing to kind of get at him, and Neo just reverbs that shit back at him, blows Heracles straight up. I'm like, oh, Horse King. The chapter ends. So the next chapter comes in 381. Heracles KO. King Crow, of course, is trying to put these dudes away. And he's like, you know what, it's time to just make the second sun and freaking let the poison rain down upon this creature, because we can't have this. He does the second sun attack, and of course Neo does some crap that makes a third sun and basically like shines Crow's ability out of the water. In that shine, he jumps up and bites King Crow in half. Crow tries to fight again, but it's not gonna work. Neo already won. King Crow down. I'm like, what? 2 of the legendary kings down like they were nothing. I'm like, son, crazy. So Mother Snake comes in. Mother Snake is playing no games. She eats speed of light. She eats freaking Neo. Gets him right into like the center of her stomach or something. I don't know at what point she's at, but at this point of her stomach, she puts him there and then starts wrapping her body into like this planetary ball. Boom. To compact him in the center of her body so she can squeeze all of her stomach acid throughout her body into this one point to digest Neo, which I'm like, wow. Mother Snake is not playing any games. So then Pear, of course, you know, this is when I was like, all right, so Pear is probably the other guy, and this guy is Center, because he was like, all right, bring this physical form of Center to Asya so he can have it. And Pear is like, all right. Gah! Stabs straight through a freaking Center. He's like, what are you doing, Pear? And he's like, you best just be glad I'm killing you now, because you could just come back later instead of them killing you and you never being able to come back. So you just better just take it, kind of thing. So Pear, of course, basically betrays Center, and Asya comes down and gets to have a chance to eat Center itself. So then we cut back to Starjun and Joey battle. So Starjun, of course, is on the ropes. Like he's hurt. He's pretty beat up. He's still hanging in, but he's pretty beat up, and Joey doesn't look too scratched, which is the sucky part about final villains in most anime. They usually are so powerful that they're not getting hit at all. So Starjun, of course, is now starting to see something. He's like, so if this gourmet luck is so powerful, how come you're just using it now? And of course Joey's like, Ksh. Crap. And it's like, Starjun's so it has a limit, is what you're saying. Because clearly, if it's so great, you would have been using it from jump, and you would have beat me already, but it has a limit to how much you can use it. That's why you just started using it now. So Joey's like, so what if it has a limit? Like, oh my god, okay. So we now know that you have a weakness, even though you're boasting as if you don't. So Starjun is just like, I just need to hold on long enough to freaking destroy you. And he's like, don't worry about it. Your freaking boss, Midora, couldn't even hang on long enough to beat out my luck. So I don't even know why you think you can. Starjun is like, oh, you thought you beat him. I was like, son, what? So Starjun's is of course super smug with his third eyeball. He's like, you thought you beat him. I beg to differ. So then he's like, oh, Midora has this special ability to copy any type of ability that comes his way, and your ingredient luck might be one of the ones that he copied. You may think you beat him. He probably just lets you think you win, but that was only so that he can fully copy your ability and make it better. And Joey's like, no, that's not real. Of course, my man proves it when Baranchi's fucking flying over the ocean or wherever he's at, and he's like, what the hell is that thing? Boom, here comes Midora out of the can. Well, that's what that gourmet luck feels like. I guess it's time to get back in. Oh, hey, brunch. Like, what? So 382 pops up. Midora catches on to brunch so he can get basically a lightning lift back to the battlefield. And while he's sitting there, of course, Midora is basically picking up on the fact that Toriko is still hanging on. He's still trying to make sure that God is prepared correctly. So he hasn't eaten God yet. And Midora picks up on that and he's like, huh. And he also sees that Brunch has the rest of the main course not eaten as well. So, and his thing, Toriko promised Midora was like, hey, if you let this was way back in the day when Midora was trying to get Komatsu to cook for him. He was like, let Komatsu go, and I will get all of the ingredients of Asia's main dish, and we will sit down and have dinner together. Cause you seem like you don't have a hunger for anything. So I'm gonna go get God. I'm gonna get the rest of the dishes, and I'm gonna bring it to you, and I want you to sit down and have some dinner with us. Stop being a villain for 5 seconds. Which Midora's whole company is just basically like another, like an opposing company to IGO, which is Ichiru's company. That's basically what they were. They kind of seemed like they were villains, but really were they? They were just people who were also hungry and cooking in their own way. But of course, Midora's like, oh, I'm proud to see that Toriko kept his word. He's a man of his word. He never goes back on his ninja. Alright, I've been watching a lot of Naruto. But, as we come back, we see that Neo basically finds a new way to get out of the bullshit. He drinks all of Mother King or Mother Snake King's stomach acid. And the way that they describe it in the chapter is like he drinks it down like it's some lightly carbonated soda. My man, you're drinking stomach acid that is literally the most powerful universal destroyer. You are. It's like the theory of the insurmountable force versus the immovable object. This thing is the highest level of deterioration acid. It can devour anything in the universe, and you are the thing that can withstand almost anything in the universe. This is when you were supposed to be devoured, yet you took another loophole and just devoured the undevourable. Like, so you took that into your... Neo. They're just finding new ways to just make him wild OP. So, he drinks all the stomach acid, and Mother Snake immediately feels like, oh damn, I just lost a lot of water weight out this bitch. So she becomes this shriveled pile of like snake skin. She, of course, at the moment of this thing, hardens her entire body and darts straight for Whale King Moon. Whale King Moon picks up on it, which I'm like, I like this part of the chapter because you get to see how the 8 kings, even though they're from their own kingdoms and they're doing their own thing, you get to see how they're so in tune. They're so like naturally understanding of each other in such a way that they are just able to cooperate and coordinate an attack that is just leagues, like milliseconds this stuff happens, and they thought about it and are doing it without even batting an eye. Like, it's just mental. Mother Snake hardens, flies straight at Whale King Moon. Whale King Moon opens up, sucks her in with a whole bunch of light, you know, because his stomach. Jumps out of the water. Daros is like, okay, I need to put every last ounce of my energy because Whale King Moon ain't no shruck. Like, he's gonna take most of this if I don't put every last ounce of it in there. So he's got to charge up, and Whale King Moon is shooting as high as he can in the air to give Daros some time. In the bowels of this goddamn whale, Neo breaks free. Bursts out the side of her stomach. Then he freaking uses, like, I don't know if this is spit or beams. I'm really feeling like it's just super powered spit. He uses one to break out a Mother Snake. He uses a whole bunch to basically catapult himself or jet propel himself. I was learning about this show on the Nerdist, the Ion, the TIE Fighter, which is something like terraforming. I forget what the initials stand for, but TIE Fighter actually has a thing. It's an actual engine, so it's like like something ionized engine where it basically takes particles and shoots them out the back and creates a thrust because of it. But basically, he catapults himself out of Whale King Moon by using more of this stuff. Blows out of Whale King Moon's face. Daros, of course, sees him and it's like, okay, I can't shoot Whale King Moon. I'm just going to have to shoot him. So he freaking shoots Neo. I think Neo just freaking dodges the attack or like smacks it out of the way. Like, I don't know what he did. But something happened to Daros' attack where it just got deflected. I don't know if he like ate a piece of it or I don't know how he did it. But right as he's about to like go after Daros, freaking Asya calls Neo. And Neo just jumps at him like a dog. Like he just flies straight to him. And this is after Asya done ate Earth. So Asya's taking on this Mr. Manhattan form, which I'm like, why? How come every time like somebody's in a super high powered form, they basically look like Mr. Manhattan or the Silver Surfer? Completely bald, super brolic, like smooth skin, basically like a stark white or like some light color, and it's like that's just their omnipotent form. Like this is the form of a god. Like any time they display a god, it's a bare bones human that is crazy muscular, but bare bones, no hair, no like barely skin. Like their skin is so smooth that it's like literal glass kind of thing. I don't know. But so Pear is like, okay, Neo, devour Asya now! Like it's just like he looks like he's betraying every last person that this Pear Nitro looks like he's just a freaking turncoat every 5 seconds. But Asya's like, no, he's not gonna devour me, and you need to shut your mouth. You're lucky I'm allowing you to live. Now I'm gonna devour him. So it's like, okay. So Asya's basically just ate center. So now he's gonna sit there and eat Neo, which he does, and turns into some weird like demon kind of like creature, which I'm like, what? It looks like Frieza in the Negaverse or something. He has a tail now. 383. So we get a cut back to the human world, and we get to see how Setsuno is over there freaking holding it down. Old as shit, but she's able to hold it down, and she's just like, if another freaking earth-destroying thing happens, this shield is going down. Like I'm holding on. I'm barely holding on by a thread right now, and literally another heavy attack is gonna make me snap. And of course, which they kind of basically revealed it already, but Starjun is putting it out in the open. He's like, there's only one man that I've been chasing my entire life. The one man that was able to share his strength with me and everyone else. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, is he talking about Medora? Because he super adores his boss. So I was like, it's the one man that was there when I was down. From birth, he was there and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, who is he talking about Medora? Like, maybe he's talking about Medora? And he was like, and that man is Toriko. And I'm like, what? My brother. And I'm like, what? So, of course, I already kind of figured, like, after they did the weird, like, flashback, and you saw, like, the baby embryo of Starjun and his scarred face, and then another embryo, which was basically Toriko in the womb. Like, you knew they were brothers already. So, him revealing it to everybody was like, what? To them. But to me, I was like, we're brothers. We're happy and we're singing and we're about to die. I don't know. Because I couldn't think of it. Give me a high eye. Anyway, so after all of that goes down, and Starjun is basically trying to reveal the lineage of him and his younger brother, even though they're basically twins. So they're actually the same age. But he's younger by probably like a couple minutes or whatever. But, we go back to Toriko and find Toriko in a very, like, okay state. Like, he's not bad. Like, he's alright. And we see Chi-Chi basically withered to nothing. So we're like, what happened to Chi-Chi? Like, what did he do? So Chi-Chi's like, I'm finally finished. I finished cooking myself and healing his wounds. And I'm like, so Chi-Chi basically used, and after he explains himself, Chi-Chi spent years doing forbidden stuff, which was devouring red nitro. He devours them and gained all of that strength from them for on the years, basically. What he did now was use that strength and cooked, like, his body into Toriko while he was healing his wounds. He was like feeding him and healing him at the same time. Light speed, like minimal stuff. And of course Zonge is like, how did he heal? And he's like, I cooked that shit. Like, I cooked that shit. Like, I cooked his wounds back to healing state. And I did that to the rest of the kings, and hopefully they'll survive, because really eating a nitro would kill a normal human immediately, and a nitro eating another nitro would kill you immediately. But for some reason we survived because we have some type of lasting power. So this is going to be the test to see if Toriko and the rest of the 8 kings are strong enough to withstand what's happening right now. Basically, they can do no wrong if they can live through this. Toriko, of course, is the first to wake up. So after all that time, of course, Starjun is like sitting there saying, like, okay, yeah, now you know that Toriko and us are brothers, but do you know who our parents are? And then it's like, I'm sitting there like thinking, like, is it Asya and Froze? But then I'm like, is it Setsuno and my man Knocking King Jiro? But I'm like, no, because they had children, and their children had children, which is what Teppei is. Teppei's their grandson, which means their like son or daughter or whatever didn't have much of a strength for the gourmet world, so they basically just like had a normal son, but their son had it. But I'm like, so who else could be their parents? Because I don't think Ichiryu would be Toriko's like dad. I wouldn't think. I mean, you know. And then I don't think, because Midora would be the only other person. Like, the way that Starjun's hair looks and the way that Midora's hair looks, you could kind of say that they look similar, which could kind of give him a running for it. But Midora has never been around women. Like, the entire time you've seen him on screen, he hasn't really dated anybody. So it's like, you don't really know if he's actually into women at all, besides Froze, you know, his mom. But basically, right when they're about to reveal who his parents are, Midora drops in and is like, all right, I'm done with the bullshit. Let's get some shit straight immediately. So then, like, as soon as he drops in, I like how Midora basically is, like, starting off with, like, a joke. And he's like, oh, Asya, you're looking kind of thin. Have you been dieting? That's kind of like a pun, like a stab at him, like, oh, you haven't been eating enough because you're weak, kind of thing. And then, like, he's, of course, like, oh, still have a big mouth. Clearly, it's only for talking, kind of like, like, oh, my God, like, these jokes. But anyway, final chapter for the catch-up. 384, and then the new one's gonna drop, I guess, either tomorrow or Friday. So, Asya reveals, and of course Midora kind of reveals too, like, Asya's kind of been planning this ever since Froze was about to die. Like, Asya has been planning this whole crap, this whole giant freaking thing with Neo and all of them, ever since, like, Froze was basically about to kick the bucket. And at that point, Asya knew that the reason Froze was dying was because of the child that she had. Which is why I'm sitting there thinking, like, maybe Toriko and Starjun is Asya and Froze's child. But then, like, Asya, of course, looks to Joey like, you are the child. And, like, of course, Joey's like, no, that can't be real. Which I'm like, that would make sense. You know, Joey looks strikingly like Froze, but he's really not Froze, and like the demon that's in him is a whole nother demon, so it's like, maybe. But then I think it was either Starjun or Midora that revealed it, because of course Joey's about to pop that shit, and Midora hits her with the fucking, shut your trap, you swarmy piece of crap. And Joey's like frozen in freaking freezing stasis. So it's revealed that Joey is actually Froze, because when she cooked the Asya's main, like his full course, she actually had pieces of it. And when she had Pear, she was of course transforming into a dude, but she died by the time that happened. And then the life water brought her back, which Asya, of course, well, I think Asya basically thought that was the kid that got brought back and not Froze, because it's a whole nother person. So it's probably why Asya thought it was a different person, but it is Froze. Or at least that's what they say. And then, to add insult to injury, Asuya, of course, is like, you know, I always didn't really care for that woman, even though she was like, I'm not saying she wasn't a bad woman, you know, she was the best wife ever. I mean, I'd come home with hickeys and lipstick all over my clothing, and I'd cheat on her all the time, and she'd always just freaking, like, he's already a villain. Like, we already know he's evil. But the fact that you're sitting there having to add that little hint of, like, stinging disgust, that, oh, he was also a cheater back in the day, like, you know, she would sit there and cook for him meals knowing damn well he's cheating on her. But it's like she would always just cook him dinner. And he's glad that she would do that because whatever, he's a dick. So it's like adding insult to injury. Midoriya, of course, the angry tiger, is pissed now. And he's not taking no more shit from Asuya. Which I'm thinking that's just basically Asuya's way to rile Midoriya up to kind of get him to slip up, basically. So, of course, now, Midoriya basically starts to fight and knocks Asuya out into space. Asuya's like, oh, so you think you're going to do this? And basically is deciding he's going to spank him. Spanks the planet. You just see a giant handprint on the side of the planet that basically, like, looks like, how do you spank a whole planet? Like, bad planet. You haven't been doing your job kind of thing. God hand, basically. Comes back down. Midoriya and Asuya are getting ready to fight, but Midoriya reveals that he's never actually told his full course, which means you don't know what's on his full course to give him the power that he has. Thus going to be revealed in 385, coming soon. My God, this was a long, like, recap. I'm sorry it was so long. It's going to be cut down, but my God, it was a long recap. There's a lot of chapters. Wait till the Nanatsu no Taizai recap. That's going to be freaking crazy, but don't let the fact that even though Asuya's been a slimy piece of crap since Jump, get you down, because the food god of dawn always rises on a new day. That thing would be to subscribe. That was a lot of time, man. If you haven't already, check out some of my other Let's Plays. They will be over there. Because I gotta get used to, like, the mirrored image. But if you haven't seen any of them, you know, I'm playing a lot of Overwatch. So I'm actually going to be streaming, like, recent Overwatch. Because I've had a whole bunch of videos, like, in the back burner. But I haven't been posting them because, you know, life. But now I'm going to actually post some new stuff when I start playing again. So we'll have that. I'm also playing the Neo Beta. I don't know when it's going to stop or when it's going to, like, cut off. But I got to beat this final boss. Like, I've been trying to freaking do it. And I've also been playing, you know, all of the same great stuff like Child of Light and Fury, which I haven't actually posted yet. I'm going to post it soon. Some Dark Souls. Just check out the Let's Plays. Like, hook a brother up. And also, I got some things in the works. I'll probably reveal that in the next video as to not make this drag out any longer. But thank you for watching. And hope I can keep this train burning.